Hello, hello, hello. We are live. Or my freaking Adobe stuff is being weird. Give me just a moment. I'm slightly concerned. Give me just a minute. For some reason, it thinks... Okay, maybe I just closed it too early. I'm hoping I didn't lose access to something here. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go live. Hello. Here's a boat. Look at how wonderful it is. How's everyone doing today? We're gonna be finishing the boat today. It's pretty close to being done, but yeah. I think we're gonna draw some little fishes and some clouds and birds, and then that would be it. And then I think we might do some game dev talk. We'll see. We'll kind of see when we get to there, because I think it would be good to kind of make sure we get all the sort of what's it called? The things figured out, the gods, and make sure that they all have sort of a play style rather than just kind of like a smidge of a buff, you know? So I think that would be important. So we'll see though. We'll see how it goes. Just making sure my chat is working. It should be. You have it both activated. Okay, should be working. Cool. How is everyone doing tonight? Yo, Fig. I think my 3-year-old is your biggest fan. I'll take it. I'll take any fans I can get. I'm glad she likes the art and other such things. How you doing today, Fig? Welcome on in. I feel like these need like a little something, you know? So the starting screen says, where is he? That's a good question. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit late because I got home a little later than I meant to, and then I had to eat food. Yeah, I'm glad she enjoys the stream. It's cute. Now, we were talking about drawing little fishes, you know? I feel like they have to be like really small though, you know? And I don't know if they should be like colorful or not, you know? I mean, we could have some like up close to, you know, whatever. We don't have a ton of room to work with. That's the thing. Pretty much most of this space is taken up by the card. So we could put them on like on the edges here. Well, I mean, I can take it. I can like, you know, put it up here, right? But like, I don't think they should look much more than that, right? Like we could do, you know, like a big, you know, yellow fish like right here or something. But I don't know if that's like, it feels weird to me, like perspective wise. I think just doing small little fishes that are kind of like in the background looks better to me. I don't know. Both little ones are watching. Nice. Love it. That is cute. That just looks like a missile. I don't know. Is that a fish? Probably. And then we'll just do like a whole entire school of them, I'm thinking. It is kind of nice to have like extra and probably actually one other thing we'll do is we'll like lower the opacity just a little bit so they kind of look like they're blending in with the background, you know. Aw, baby fish. I want to go on the boat. Small works, yeah, that's what I was figuring. We can just do kind of small guys. It is a fun looking boat. I imagine it wouldn't be very fun to actually sail it though. Like normal sailboats are pretty stressful. I don't know how. Like you look at a sailboat, you're like, oh, it's so calm and peaceful. And really it's like, like you're trying to like lean back so you're not falling into the water, you know? Gotta feed these gremlins. I'll keep lurking and try to jump back in a bit. No worries. You feed them. I'm sure they're hungry. I will just keep streaming. Just keep streaming. Just keep streaming. Yeah, let's do like a bunch of fish. We'll draw like 5 of them maybe, and then just kind of copy and paste. I think is the goal. A suggestion of a fish. What do you want, kitten? Huh? Wow, 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 wow. How many fish do I need to make a convincing school of fish is the question. I think I do want to make sure like I'm making some smaller, like so it seems like they're farther back, you know? The question is how many before like it doesn't look like I'm just repeating a thousand little things. I think what I'll do is probably I'm just gonna go like this now. And then you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna throw them in a folder. And we're gonna instead change this back to 100%. And then we're gonna go in the folder, we're gonna make that 50%. That way we can just duplicate all these layers. Oh, wow, that was loud. Huh. Well, Control J. Why is that so loud? What are my system sounds at? Sound settings. No, not sound settings. Volume mixer, open mixer. And system sounds bad. What we'll do is we'll kind of vary the sizes of them. And that way, you won't be able to tell that. What we could do too on top of that is like make them less opaque even. And so that these ones can kind of be, you know. Honestly, even that's gonna be fine because like most of that's covered up. But I probably should, let's just duplicate all of them as well, and then just move them like here. I guess I didn't get two of them. Oh, okay. One of them wasn't showing. God, why is it all buggy all of a sudden? God. The system sounds are still too loud. God, all this stuff is weird on my computer all of a sudden. I guess I haven't been on it in a week, which sounds crazy. But I've been busy doing some other work because your boy needs money. I've been hard at work. Grabbing the wrong layer. Okay, does that look like anything on? It does. And then maybe we'll do like, honestly, what we might do is just why are some of these not? It's like not copying the ones that are supposed to be more opaque. Pro tip, boops and then runs away. Lurk. There you go. What's up, cat? Bye, cat. Thank you for the lurk. Appreciate you being here. Are these not in the folder? They're all in the folder. Ah, there we go. Now they are all in the folder. That was the problem. Pro tip, first boop and then walk away. I don't know why it's doing that. It's like getting confused for some reason. Whenever I move it, it's like glitching out. Really strange. I wonder why that is. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back. We're doing fish. Currently. I have 10 trillion layers. I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's so weird. This is maybe too many fish, but we're gonna make it work. Let's just merge the group. Half of them you're not gonna be able to see. It's gonna be like this, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have the you know, if we want the card on its own. Just kind of fade them out a little bit. Maybe just kind of get rid of those. I get two separate schools. There we go. There we go. There's the fish. Maybe honestly, move this section right down here. Yeah, it looks better. Hello. Pro tip, fish are made of fish. That's true. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I drew a single fish, I think 2 days ago now. Very nice. If you want to share, feel free. You want to show your fish skills. The old fish drawing skills. Feel free, you can send it on the Discord stream chat if you want. If not, no pressure. Let's do some clouds. Okay, let's see if I can actually draw the clouds this time. Like when I was at the end of stream last time, I was like, it was over. You know, I was not, my brain wasn't there anymore. That's about perfect. That's a perfect cloud right there. Where should I post? Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, in the stream chat. You can also do like your creations if you want to see have other people see it. Ooh, do you mind if I share? I figure you don't mind, but seeing as I'm on stream, but I feel like it's common courtesy to ask. So you may. Perfect. Don't want to embarrass anyone or anything, you know. Some people get very self-conscious about their art. Which I understand. Yeah, actually, I understand. I was about to say, but like they should be whatever. And it's like, you know, you should be more confident. And it's like, no, that's hard to do. That's hard to do sometimes. Confidence is hard. We understand. We'll check it out in half a second. I see that it's there. Okay. Yeah, like beans showing off my art. Indeed, right? It's usually more fun than okay, this is not gonna work. I was about to show it on Discord, but if you click onto it, it just becomes invisible. Hold on. Copy link. Doesn't that work? Like if I do this, you do it on, yeah, there we go. Look at that. Fish. Heck yeah. Like its eye. Little beady looking I mean, I guess it's a fish eye, but I was about to say a snake eye sort of shape, right? It's cool. I like it. He's got a mood, you know? Fish. I like it. Any context with the fish? Looks good though. Very fun. Well, they kind of draw the same way I would draw a snake eye. Yeah, there you go. Same, but different, right? Oh, did we have like a third cloud with the giggles of it? It really doesn't need to look good because 90% of it's behind a whatever, but that seems about right. Seems about good. Select the clouds, expand, reverse it, flip it and reverse it. We do this, we do this. We do like this color, we paste it. And then we don't be lazy. Label your layers. Someone else had a little stream mini game where you go fishing, and I drew the same fish for transformation of my main Sona, so that I be conscious. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, it took me like forever to read that, but I got it. I figured it out. That's cool though. So I also background was transparent. Ah, that's very cool. Yeah, I kind of want to have more stuff like that, like where like have a like stream like games, but I would want to make it my own thing. Like I know they have like a lot of the like fishing is I think a pretty common stream game. And I feel like it'd be cool to have something like that, but I don't know what that would be yet, you know? Fish. Indeed. So yeah, I'm still kind of trying to figure that out, but I would like to do that. You know what, for giggles, let's try a different color this time. Do this. Reflect the color of the sky a little bit, maybe. Or is it better if I do... that's pretty good. Maybe we'll do a little bit of deeper blue on the bottom. Round it out. And then some yellow for the sun. Here comes the sun. Da 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 da. I don't remember how the song goes, honestly. Honestly, maybe we'll do a light blue for the sun as well. Shouldn't be on the multi. That's why it was looking bad. I'm like, oh, that looks terrible. Why am I doing that? Yeah, this is fun. I might do soft light though. Doesn't look quite right to me. Soft light. Super subtle, but that's okay. And then birds. I also want to do more like fan interaction stuff, like having like not interaction, but like fan contributions. I feel like that is cool too. I want to do more of that. But yeah. I also feel weird calling people fans. I'm like, I feel too small to call people fans. More like viewers, you know? Well, if you want some kind of custom interaction for viewers other than just chatting, you sort of have two options: either manually react to trigger your viewers, or you can program some sort of custom response to viewers. Other than that, you can take software else viewer interactions, but wouldn't be quite custom. Yeah, I think you know, I could either do like redeems or something like that, or yeah, I'd have to like, you know, either manually or what's the other one? Yeah, just like actually learn programming, which I'm, you know, I don't know if I want to do that quite yet. Yo, Anonymous, what's up, dude? When you say fan contribution, do you mean contributions to the stream or contributions to the project? Either, both, honestly. Probably like to armies, like people are contributing to the project as they, you know, are here, right? Like, it's not like at any point someone can't go like, I want like draw a you know, a robot, right? Like we did last time. And then I'm like, all right, sure, why not? Robot. You know? So it's not like it's not something I already do, but I probably should make a little bit more of a formal way to do it so people aren't discouraged to do that. Like have like a suggestion box like people were saying in the Discord, like we were saying last time at least. What's up with you, Adonimus? How you doing? Any of y'all working on anything, doing anything fun? Is there anything I need to do to this, or is this just done? We could put like a few little more people on it, and we could maybe do a figurehead. I know we talked about maybe doing it, and I was kind of like, didn't have the energy to do that. Now I could, but I also don't know if it needs it, you know? I have the energy to now, though. I just don't know what I'd put, because, like... Yeah, I don't know. This is my brother earlier today. Me too. And we were discussing some solutions to very specific balance problems for my TTRPG. Nice. That's always good when you can, you know, bounce ideas off of people, and you know, especially family. It's always good. Good, bro. Nice. Hell yeah. What kind of problems are you talking about? What kind of things? Okay, you know what my problem is right now? I don't like... The seaweed looks bad because I'm not practicing a standard principle of... Okay, well, I guess you could... One of the things is, like, you shouldn't have, like, too many repeating shapes when you're drawing something, right? Like, if you just do... It's not working. Oh, because I have that on. If you do, you know, the same shape over and over again, like, that looks bad if you're like, I'm going to draw some grass, and it's like, boop, 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 boop. It's like, instead you want to do, like, varying heights and sizes, right? Of course, I did, like, a complete pattern, but, you know, one looks better than the other, right? So the problem is these are all at the same height right now, at least the ones that are visible. So I should make this a little bit shorter. Also, maybe make it a little bit pointier. And then same with this guy. Maybe just do that. And of course, these aren't really going to be visible, so it's like, whatever. So the specific problem was there was no situation where you'd want a rifle over a sniper rifle and can't buff the rifles directly without having them approach on another weapons category. Gotcha. Solution was class-specific build options for rifle synergies. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. I can dig that. Any other additions to this, or is this done? I think ship might be done. Or exploration vessel, I think is what we've officially called it. Officially? You know? So. Ship it. Get it? Ship because it's a ship. Put the ship into a relationship. That ship would probably be sufficient by my personal standards if I were making it. Okay, perfect. I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. All right, save. Maybe we'll do more art. I don't know. I don't know if we want to talk about game design or if we want to just keep doing art, but part of the idea for game design stuff would be working on some game design is fun. Yeah, I think we would want to like look at the god cards and kind of decide what we're doing for deck building, right? I think we might need to look at those one more time. Should be getting new laptop soon so I can get back to making my game too. There you go. Oh, yeah, damn. Right, yeah. You said yours got fried. Got dead. Got dead. I'll tell you who. Did I open Dexterous and then just close it? I don't know. So yeah, we can talk sort of. I mean, I don't know how long this will take, so we'll figure it out, but maybe we'll do other stuff after. We can go back to art. Who knows? But that was fun, just finishing that up. That felt good. So let's look at. I could put it in the. Do I have it? All right, hold on. I don't have a slot for it. I could put it in. Could implement it, or I could just maybe we just go and look at. Oh wait, this is broken. You know what? Let's just fix it real quick, and then we'll look at some of the new stuff. Google Drive, my Drive. There we go. Here's knowledge. I was pondering on making an engineering perk where they could give you the why is that word giving me trouble? Incinerary tag for rifles, like fire. Sorry, for some reason my brain was not registering that. More new cards. I need to RP game designer while I have no PC. There you go. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, we will let me do one thing here. We need to do a structure. Oh, exploration vessel is on here. So there's a few ways we could do this. We talked about having like a let's open tabletop because it's just gonna be easier. We talked about the ability for this card being like you scry your deck for a land. I think that's good. The question is, or like the other thought could potentially be incendiary. Maybe I read it. Am I reading it wrong, or am I don't know. Or is it written wrong? I don't know. Basically, yeah, means fire, yeah. Yeah. What the tag does is shoots weapon X as if the weapon had been fired a second time for anyone in the affected area until your next turn. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I really like tag systems for RPGs. I think it's actually a great concept, and I definitely want to be using it more if and when I get back to Soul or work on a different RPG. But that would be the next thing I would do, is probably whatever. So temporary area denial. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I have two thoughts. One is it draws a land card, or not. You can search your deck and take a land card. I think that is cool. I think scrying that's the right term, right? Scrying, going through your deck and pulling a card. Oh yeah, tags are very useful. Yeah, I think I'd probably make a system with tags rather than just so you can like actually like craft your own weapons and that kind of stuff. It's just kind of nice. Lands are very important to the god of humanity, or harvest, right? Goddess of harvest. If you play 2 lands, you can play an additional one, and then for every land you play, you get 1 unit for each land in player controls. So it's pretty crazy. The ship could place the land on the board. Wait. The ship could place the land on the board and put all units on the land to reset the ship. The ship can place the land on the board and put all units on that land to reset the ship. I don't know what that means. Are they about on par with the importance of land and Magic Gathering? Yeah, basically they generate you units, which are basically like your resource in the game. So yeah, similar concept. they're your resource generation, but kind of in a little bit different of a way. It's not so much like I need resources to play cards as I need resources to like attack and defend and that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit different. One of my thoughts was like every time you play a land, you draw a card rather than having it be scrying. But at the same time, I kind of like the idea of it consuming units in order to get more lands, but I'm not entirely sure on which I like better. So instead of just putting the land in your hand, you can put it on the board and move all units from the ship to the new land. That is cool. My only worry with that is that it doesn't really synergize with the God of Humanity, or I keep saying that, God of Harvest, because she gains benefits from, you can't spam search every turn. Yeah. My only worry is that it doesn't really work with her base effect, which was kind of the idea of like, the other thing is like pull a land so you can play. If you play 2, you get to play a 3rd. So the nice part is getting getting an additional one from your deck so you can use your base effect as the god. Or it could even be like if you play 2 lands, you can search your deck for a 3rd. But that's like super like specific and not really usable in other decks, which in a way I'm kind of like, eh. Yo, Sean the Pawn, what's up, dude? Well, would count as one land played. I suppose that is true. But that means you get to play 4 cards in a turn, which is kind of insane, especially 4 lands. That's too broken, I think, right? And it's only like a one-time thing. I don't know what moving units to your new land doesn't really do anything for you, because you can allocate stuff between your lands and structures however you want. Unless you're like putting it over to like allies areas or something, which would be kind of cool to have like some sort of effect for that. Because we are working toward more player interaction. At least I would like to. I don't know. I'm thinking that over. Because honestly, like drawing a card for every land you play would be pretty crazy, but or just consumes units search for land. I think that's probably not overcomplicating it, right? Just like consume. I don't know how many units it has to be though. Embassy's 8 to play just a card in general from your hand. That's just well, but this would just be drawing into your hand, so it's more like graveyard. Actually, it's graveyard, but specifically for lands. Except, you know, from your actual deck, and that is about, I think, 4 units. Yeah. Okay. No, that works. I think that's fine. Okay, let's do it this way. Remove 6. I think we're overcomplicating it. Remove 6 units from this card. We don't really have any like searching your deck terms, but so like search your deck for a. I should be writing this somewhere else because there's no spell check in whatever it's called. Data cards. Cool ship art. Thank you. Yeah. We just finished that one, so we're kind of trying to get that implemented into the game. Ship. What the ship? Ship. I accidentally spelled a bad word. So it would be remove 6 units from this card. This might be a little nicer for you. There we go. You could do it and your ally search for a land. You could do you and an ally. And an ally is pretty crazy. Maybe or an ally. I think or. I think that might be cool. You or an ally and search your deck for a land card and place it in your hand. I think what would it be? Would it be like, do you think it should be any land card or like specifically like the next land card in your deck? Or is it like, is that too, I'm trying to decide if it's too strong, if it's the next card, or if it's like, if it should be the like a specific land. Yeah, like draw until you find a land. That might honestly be a better way to do it. Just because then like it's the theme, yeah. Can draw cards till, honestly, I'm just gonna use it like the cognitive enhancement writing, where it's like you may draw cards and then it says discard, but this one will be reshuffle. I just want to use the verbiage I used for my other cards, you know? It's just keep things consistent. Which is one of the things like I've almost started to do some of the stuff like just in normal life. Like I've like noticed like whenever I'm writing something, I like think of it as if I'm like like doing armies. I'm like, oh yeah, this needs to be whatever. Can draw cards until you find a land. Place it in your hand. Reshuffle the rest. Probably. Quick, what do I want for dinner? What do you want for dinner? You always like the chicken something or other that you keep mentioning. I can't remember what it's called. Remove 6 units from this card. You or an ally can draw as many. Not as. You and an ally can. This isn't how it should be written. You're an ally. Draw cards until you find a land. Place it in your hand, reshuffle the rest. Does that make sense? I consume the cookies when I reach 0 cookies, discard the baggage in the bin. If the bin is full, banish it to the nether zone. There you go. You or an ally can draw cards until you find a land. Place it in your hand, reshuffle the rest. Is that fine? Does that make sense? Like this, no one's gonna assume that you're shuffling your hand, right? Let's also see if it's too many words. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. I'm sure someone's gonna assume that. Like, I guess I just got to shuffle my hand. I have too many abilities in the new decks because it's like, I don't know. This shouldn't say ability. I don't know why it says ability. We also, did I ever reword the robot? Iron Sentinel. When this, yeah, I did it. Still not sure about the effect. I actually like the effect a lot. I just don't think it, I know we're all like, think it would be cooler to have a cooler effect for it. I know this is like not optimum viewing. Should like create a script so when I change my oh shit. All right. Just I was on the wrong thing. Oops. Yeah, this is like not great. Full display. I guess it's fine. Okay, that makes so much more sense. I was like, why did this not work? Okay, and then we can just go to here and we can refresh CSV and then we should have... Oh, I didn't put the card art in there. Sorry, people have said stuff. No, yeah, makes sense. Okay. No one said anything. I'm losing my mind. What's the difference? What's the difference between ability and effect? Just read a few. Just read a few and they seem kind of similar. Okay, so ability is like you spend something, you spend a resource to gain a thing or for something to happen. Here, we'll pull this up. Abilities are the orange ones. They're always at the bottom. So yeah, obviously, okay, first one is base effect. It's in the center. It's kind of like the passive of the card, right? Orange is an ability. So it removes units off of the, or like, you know, it has a cost and then the thing happens. Triggered effect is like this event happens and then something else happens, right? A cause then effect. And then blue ones are the if this card has a specific number of units on it, it gains an effect. So it like basically gains a base effect when it has a certain number of units on it. And then spells have side effects, which are kind of like abilities. Like, you know, it kind of feels like it would sound like an ability, but instead it is a consequence that that happens that doesn't necessarily have to you don't have to do it if you can't meet the requirements. So best example really is like Banish from Existence. You can use this card and it will disable one of your heroes till the end of your turn. However, if you don't have a hero, you can still play the card. It's not like a requirement to have it. So one is remove units, and one is if it has the number of units, you don't have to remove them. Correct. Yeah. Basically, yeah. It doesn't have to be units. Blue ones have to be units, whereas like yellow ones could be like discard a card from your hand and gain 3 units, right? So it's some sort of cost. Stream boo denied. But yeah. It's wild that stream boo is still a thing. I've been streaming for like a year and a half and still get stream boo bots. Yeah, so they're a bit different, but we want to do AE, art, structure, and we drop boat on in there. I'm on a boat and it's going fast. And remember that song? Remember when that was popular? Depending how old you are when you're watching. I think most, I don't know. Well, yeah, I was gonna say, I think most people actually are probably around that age, but I don't know about Sean the Pawn, if he's still here. Probably not. But maybe not. I don't know. I just assume like people's ages based on how they talk, but you know, here we are. Okay, let's do you use spreadsheets, Anonymous, or do you actually just do it in Dexterous, like the designing? I know some people who do it directly in Dexterous, but there we go. And it's the perfect number of words. Just doing Dex, which I did spreadsheets after watching you. Yeah, there's some cool stuff like auto implementing the words. That's honestly the biggest thing. Obviously, like I think the few biggest things is 1, auto implementing icons. 2 is just collaboration, right? So if you want to work with someone while doing it, I think it's, you know, obviously you can't do it here, right? You being able to both work on a spreadsheet is nice. Got hundreds of Clip Studio files of card ideas. I redo index basically. Ah, gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. There we go. Expedition vessel done. This card does need to be reworked because I'm kind of pretty sure it breaks the game. Mostly because of bridge, which means I need to just look at bridge again. But what do you know? Bridge breaks the game yet again. Huzzah. Dude, burn this bridge. I know, right? I could probably reword this to make it work a little bit better. But yeah. Honestly, I could just copy the base effect and put it into the unit effect, and it would basically fix it, but it's a little more confusing. We'll see. Anyway, because in theory, what would happen, it works, but this basically doubles the number of units your god gains if it's active on them, which is like completely broken. So, bridge is like quintessential to the game, unfortunately. Never used the co-op feature in Dex. That'd be interesting. Well, is there one? Because I just do it, you know, in a spreadsheet, and then you can import the CSV so one person can whatever. But is there actually like a feature in here that lets other people look at it? Am I? No. Sorry, I was saying that you can both work in a spreadsheet. And then that means you could both work on here, and then it allows you to, you know, you can both work on a spreadsheet, and then you can export there. Yeah, sorry. It allows Dexterous to be co-op in a spreadsheet, essentially. So if you wanted to both work on this, you could, you know. Okay, let's talk about the gods for a minute here. I'm not gonna look at the new ones, even though I think they're cool. I think just like working on some of the existing ones, because these ones I have no idea whether they're balanced or not, because they're whatever, right? I would say destruction and devotion are probably pretty set on how they are. I really like altruism. I could see how it wouldn't work super well in, like, it doesn't necessarily invoke a play style of your cards. Basically what it does, before you get attacked, you basically can tank the damage with your god. So it basically can tank any attack. Which means all your cards would, like, I guess the card, like, play style would be, you want stuff that's kind of aggressive and maybe gets hurt more. Like, your idea for, like, the double damage but takes half, or like deals double damage but takes double damage would be good on altruism, right? Because if it's about to get attacked, you would just take it with altruism. You take half damage, and then the enemy, you know, takes a lot of damage there. So like, that's kind of like how the playstyle would have to be with altruism. Like, kind of cards that benefit from your god taking damage would be cool too. That's cool. Yeah. Like a card that's like gains units when your god takes damage, which specifically would only work with altruism because your gods can't be attacked unless if unless all their cards are dead, but but yeah, you could have something like that, right? Or like even a thing that's like when a card takes damage for another card, or like when a card takes like tank, like, you know, takes a hit that wasn't meant for him, or however you'd want to word that, right? Then like something happens. You could have like a whole tanking strategy, which could be interesting. Oh wait, this card is new. We're not looking at this one yet. So altruism, I think, is set as is. Right now, well, like the last playtest we did felt a little lackluster, because sometimes if you're doing well, Altruism doesn't feel great, but it's like it's a great ability, and I think I like it as is. So ooh, we're in an ad. Okay, we're doing an ad. I will be back in 3 minutes, and then we'll keep going with this. I just felt the Paladin card needed something like that. I think the Paladin's great as is. I actually like it as is, but it's big shield. I mean, its big shield is that it gains minions, right? Or gains units, rather. But yeah, okay. We're going to take a quick break. I'll be back in 3 minutes. I'm turning my card-based tabletop role-playing game into a fully fledged deck builder. That's right, a role-playing game like Dungeons & Dragons, but with the deck-building mechanics of something like Slay the Spire. Not only that, but doing so solves a bunch of problems generally experienced in many tabletop RPGs. Hi, I'm Nathan, and this is my sci-fi role-playing game called Soul. Now you might be saying, Nathaniel, you're just making this game into a deck builder because it's popular right now. And to that, I say, you're right. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hoping that a popular game genre wouldn't help promote my game. But even though that is true, that's not really the reason I decided to make this change. It's actually because it solves a lot of problems in my game. But before I explain why I did it, let's explain what I actually did. To start, I'm going to use an action system similar to version 2 of my game called Concentration. Each point of concentration essentially counts as one action. The exception here is that more powerful cards may cost more than one concentration to use. This is going to be similar to Hearthstone's mana system or Slay the Spire's energy system. A player will start the game with 3 concentration and be allowed to spend it on various cards on their turn. After spending it, their concentration will regenerate when it becomes their turn again. As for the cards themselves, there are 3 different types of playable cards. Basic actions. These cards allow you to perform a simple action, mainly one of your equipped items, such as a weapon to attack an enemy. As a note here, there will be an inventory system where you have separate cards equipped, but that's for another video. Physical abilities. Generally, these are things that can be done within human means, or alien means, or whatever. Something like the Knight's Cleave ability, which makes a sweep attack hitting multiple enemies, or the Medic's First Aid ability, which allows them to heal a target even when it's not on their turn. And lastly, nano abilities. I won't kid myself, this is basically a magic system under the guise of technology. This allows a character to perform actions and go beyond what's normally possible, such as Medic being able to use mass healing, which allows them to heal allies in an area. This also helps to explain older abilities like the DJ Scale ability, which allows you to change the size of other characters' abilities. A player will choose an assortment of these cards from a class or multiple classes to build a deck. Once they have their deck, they can use these abilities in-game, especially during combat. Once combat begins, a player will draw 6 cards and be able to choose what actions to perform by playing these cards and using concentration to do so. Once a card is played, it goes into a discard pile and cannot be played again until their deck is empty. I'm still debating on whether a player's hand refreshes every turn, or if they can retain their cards and draw enough to fill their hand. Playtesting is probably in order to decide which one's best, but let me know what you think. Either way, that's the general premise of the deck building aspect, so let's explain why I actually made this choice. For those of you who play games like Dungeons & Dragons, will likely know this sort of situation. Your party gets into a fight with some enemies, and it gets to your fighter's turn. Your dungeon master asks a fighter what they would like to do, and they say attack one of their enemies with their legendary magic sword. They attack, and then the DM asks what they would like to do with their 3 additional actions. And they simply say they want to attack with their sword again, even though there might be more interesting options that the character might have. This continues until they're out of actions or the enemy is dead. Now, you may blame the fighter for playing the game in an uninteresting or boring way. However, while they may have other actions at their disposal, using their legendary sword is likely the most effective option for dealing with enemies. And while it may be true that it isn't the most interesting, you can't really blame them for using their best action they can. We had the exact same issue in Soul, and for that reason we came up with this design philosophy. The mechanics should never encourage a meta or perfect strategy. Players should never be able to repeat an action or a set of actions ad nauseum. And that's where the deck building mechanics come in. At the start of combat, a player will only have 6 cards, likely meaning they won't always be able to perform their best action and have to adapt to what's given to them. Even in the case of attacking with their weapon, they may only have so many basic actions, forcing them to use some sort of other. So you know I'm back. Not only is this good for allowing players had to give Luna some extra attention. Anyway, I'm playing Tabletop Simulator with my my stylus. It's not really working that well. But yeah, no, I actually really like Paladin as is. It seems stupid, but just the way the mechanics work of the game, it doesn't need anything. I would rather create a new card that's like slightly different, which is kind of Stone Golem, right? It's kind of tanky, but different. I really like how Paladin is just with the mechanics of the game, which seems silly, but it's like one of the most basic cards, but I still like it a lot, and it's actually one of the most powerful. I really don't think it needs any sort of buff. It's probably like an S tier card. As crazy as that sounds. I want to actually, we should do. Just seems blank is all. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe we should do some lore and throw it on there. Start doing like lore on all the blank ones. Not even a little damage reduction effect or something. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We should do a tier list at some point soon. Just like look over all the cards and see what rank we'd think they are, and then, you know, figure out if things need balancing or not. Also just kind of for fun, because it's fun to do a tier list, you know. Anyway, God of Humanity I think is fine. Her play style is kind of maybe not the most interesting. It's like you play a card and you get additional units. It's kind of like I just have a bunch of additional units for playing the game. So like, arguably it's not really a super interesting play style, but I also kind of like that it's sort of vanilla, right? Like she's the one the game is balanced around. So, I think it's fine. My system main goal on balance was mostly just the player should never feel like they have to pick this specific option. That's true, right? I like that a lot, actually. I've thought about that for multiple things. I haven't thought about that for this game in a while. Sometimes you forget those sort of like, you're like, I have this idea, and that's why it's really good to write down a design philosophy. But yeah, it's a good one. One of the ones, like, honestly, the thing that taught me that was League of Legends, honestly. Because they came out with the like all the boot enchantments. I don't know if you guys play League of Legends, but they basically had boots and they had boot enchantments. And one of the big things is that they had there's one boot enchantment, the Home Guard one or whatever, which would make you run like all the way to like to lane when you were from base, right? So it'd make you really fast at the end, or like really fast when you could get there. And it's like, oh, this is like better than any other option. Why would you ever pick no, I'm a Dota player, I'm an actual enemy. I haven't played League in, okay, I played like one game maybe like 2 months ago, but it was an ARAM game and that doesn't count. So but yeah, it's like one of the big things that like clicks in my mind every time I think of that sort of philosophy. It's like, if there's no reason to pick any other option, it's bad game design, right? 3 main design goals: never feel like the player has to pick a specific option. Players or allow players to fulfill action hero fantasies and keep it lightweight. There you go. I need to rewrite one for armies, although I kind of, it's all in my brain, but I think Humanity's fine. I think Harvest is fine. Wait, these ones are also fine. Harvest actually might need a nerf, if anything. Like, these are these are all fine. These are perfectly fine. Harvest might need a nerf. These two need... God of War could need a tweak. God of Magic needs to be redesigned completely. So this is... We'll do it this way. Severity of edits. These don't need any. These probably need something light. God of Destruction might be in this tier. But granted, I don't think it's as in this tier with deck building. Like, these two kind of feel like, they could be reworked. But with... Whoa. We did it. We built a house of cards. Problem is you can set yourself design goals. Problem is you can set yourself design goals. Realize you don't want to stick to them. That's true. That's true. For sure. I feel like God shouldn't have empty text boxes as a playstyle setter. It depends on how powerful the effect is. Like, this one's so freaking powerful. And that's an aesthetic choice, I think, or like an aesthetic opinion, you know? Like, these two cards are far more, like, their abilities are very, very powerful. Whereas these are, like, less so. I get what you're saying, and maybe you're right. Maybe some of them should have, like, more powerful effects. Or, like, ones that, you know, more like a base effect as well. But, I don't know. Like, maybe God of Humanity could have one. I think, honestly, the first thing to do is look at just God of Magic. The rest of these are okay. Maybe they're not perfect. Like, Harvest is probably too powerful. You know, God of War and Destruction are probably too weak. Doesn't have to be a positive one if the effect is already powerful. Yeah, I kind of haven't had any negative effects that... Well, actually, that's not true. Doesn't this one have a negative effect? Yeah, you can't place cards during play phase. That one is interesting, but... I think to start, we really just need to look at God of Magic. Because God of Magic is kind of just meh. So let's do that. Let's just start with Magic. I think the other ones is like a debate for another day. To keep things rolling, I would like to just look at Magic. Because right now, it's pretty boring. It's literally... you may draw an additional card on your turn. One, card draw is a lot less good now. It doesn't really do much for you. Like, it's good. It's good to draw more cards. It means you have more options. But it doesn't necessarily... You know, now that you can only play 2 cards, it's not nearly as effective. We have talked a lot about potentially doing a... sort of a spell deck kind of thing, like trying to draw out spells. Kitten, why are you attacking me? No. Why you attacks me? Why do you attacks me? Nope. I got the kitten. She has been obtained. Why are you attacking me, huh? Why are you attacking me? Do you want attention? Alright, I'm getting attacked. Yeah, I think we probably need to figure out what God of Magic looks like, and then we can take a look at like some of the other gods. Magic focused deck would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that would work. Currently, like the magic deck, like all the magic abilities, like magic is kind of card draw right now. Like wizard, like cards I don't know exactly. Like it's sort of like a theme around magic is focused on like card draw and stuff like that. So like wizard, when you defeat a card, it draws a card. Mage's Tower is kind of the opposite. You could discard a card to gain 3 units. It also draws an additional card per turn on space effect. Reckless Spellblade, discard a card, make an attack. Mountain, you know, you gain an additional card per turn. Those are kind of like the specific magic ones. Library lets you get an additional card when an enemy, or when a structure, ruins, land, or wasteland is destroyed. So it kind of all revolves around card draw. I'd like to say God of Magic gains a unit when you draw a card, but that might be OP. Honestly, I don't know if that's actually bad. I think that might work. Well, I think it only works if, I don't know. Part of me is like wondering if that's just too simple, but maybe not. Maybe that's still kind of cool. I'm trying to think how the balance goes right now. Because like balanced around this, you're getting 4 units per turn with this god. Yeah, so if we're looking at humanity, technically, you know, a card has like an intrinsic number of unit value, which is around 3 units. I would almost rather do something like when you play a card, you get and then discard wait. Then it can discard units to get a spell from discard or something. Yeah, or even honestly make that like a structure. Like I know we were talking about that, like where it's like, you know, you can pull, like we could have like other cards that could do stuff like that too. And this just incentivizes that. Like I thought of an idea where it's like you take a spell from your discard pile and put it back into your deck. And then that way, like, drawing more cards could potentially be good, right? Because you're putting cards back into your deck, which would be kind of interesting. Because then, like, the gods might be a little bit more open for actual deck building beyond, like, this is locked into, like, spell play only, you know? Because that's like one of the things like I dislike about some classes in games. Like obviously you don't want to be too generic, but I also don't like when it gets to like something so specific. Like that was one of the problems I had with Diablo 3 is that you would get to like the game was really built around set armor, and those set armors had like very specific like archetypes. Like you need to use this spell and then you can do this. Like it was really obsessed with the boat. Heck yeah. Let's show it in its full glory. But we also need to just let's remove these remove the guides. Your guides. There's the boat. You don't like tribal stuff then? What do you mean? Yeah, that's why I don't go for the typical Magic or Pokemon resource in my game. Yeah. Right? Well, yeah, because like if you have like a resource where it's like, yeah, like Magic where okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like it's like, oh, you have red cards and you need red whatever to play them. It's like, okay, well now I can't put these in my deck if whatever. Obviously it's for like balance purposes in some sense, but like when you have 30,000 cards, like does it really, you know, like Magic, it's like that doesn't really whatever. Where one resource has to be used for a certain game. Yeah. Tribal, it's as in stuff that has hard synergies with creatures, equipment tags, where the tag has no mechanics other than being unique modifier. Unique identifiable. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Let me read to understand this. As in that has hard synergy with creature / equipment tags where the tag has no mechanics other than being a unique modifier. No, well, that's not true. That's no, I don't think that's exactly what I mean. I see what you're saying. Like you're an elf and being an elf has no mechanics other than you have a card that says elves get +1/+1. Not exactly. I would say it's more let me think if I can explain this. Yeah, it's not that I don't like that. What I don't like is that yo, Tuna, it's 2:37 a.m. for me, but hi, yo. Welcome on in, Tuna. If you're staying. Otherwise, good night. But thank you for stopping by. There's a boat. I have a boat. I don't like things that lock you into a specific play style, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it's looking sick. Thank you. Yeah, this was basically done. Actually, we have the card itself. I can show. Because that was one of the things with Diablo is it would lock you into. There's the card finished. It would lock you into a specific like they had set armors, and set armors were pretty much completely required to use the game. And this actually goes with your or to like beat the game, right? You get like a 6,000% damage bonus. It's like, okay, I guess I have to use this set armor. It kind of goes along with your philosophy of like not being able to not pick something specific, right? It's like, oh, I want to pick this thing, but I can't because I have to use this set armor, which requires me to use like one of 4 spells and not one of the ones that I actually like, you know? So that was the thing I didn't like that really locks you into something too hard. That's not to say I don't want to ever do that, but there are certain things where I kind of like a more narrow synergy, or not narrow synergy, a more wider synergy rather, where you can combine them together in various ways rather than having like a very hard synergy where it's like, I need this card to play this card or like whatever like that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I've kind of rambled a bit, but okay. So you're okay with tribal synergies just as long as synergy can be flexible. Yeah, exactly. But you have to find a balance of making each god feel unique, but making it usable in many ways. Exactly. Yeah. But honestly, even what you were suggesting, right? Like you draw a card, you gain a unit. That's pretty, like, that's a lot different than like it means, okay, I want to have a deck that has card draw, right? And you could pretty quickly outpace like God of Humanity if you just like, I don't know, you if you, at least if we start with one card draw, right? So you have 3 cards and then you play more cards and then you get, every time you draw a card, you get an additional unit. That's pretty cool. Even though it's pretty simple, right? It's just a new way to like use the existing mechanics. So I do like that idea. I'm trying to decide. And then like if we want to have like a spell slinging synergy, maybe it's something that we put in as like a card and you're like, okay, I must protect this card in order to keep this sort of synergy. I don't know. That's kind of like a debate here. Do we think that makes more sense? Or do you think having a god that's like, okay, I can, take a spell from my discard pile and put it back in my deck or something like that? Is that like more interesting? I mean, it's more interesting, yeah, but is it better? I mean, God of Magic with no spell effects is crazy. It seems crazy to me. That's true. That's fair. I can agree with that. Okay, let's write down a series of any sort of, let's write down a bunch, right? This is what we're gonna do. In fact, I've already written down some of these. Let's write down, every deck will have spells, right? Yes, that's correct. Just noticed a little nugget from a mechanic in my system I considered but never implemented. Doing some spell checking for my system. Found rules for fire action describing how you consume ammunition when ammunition does not exist in my system other than grenades. Yeah, I'm not a huge ammunition person. Like, I've never been a fan of like, I think it could be cool if you really play it like really survival-like game, like if you're doing D&D, like very survival focused. I think that could be cool. But you'd have to play it like that rather than just having it like, oh yeah, you forgot your arrow on the ground and you didn't go pick it up. Sorry. Like, I don't know. It just feels lame to me. Okay, let's write down every mechanic we could possibly give God of Magic. Unit effect, gain 1 unit for each card you draw. I already wrote that down. It doesn't really need to be an effect. Gain 1 unit for each card you draw. This could potentially be, these could also be turned into just cards if we don't use them for the effect for the god, right? Okay. Gain 1 unit for each card you draw. When you draw a card, you make an attack. That feels more like, that also feels more like a, something else, but who knows. Yeah, I considered ammunitions, but I just kept developing the system, never added ammo, and decided it didn't really fit the system. Yeah, right. Sometimes realism isn't fun. Spells no longer have side effects when played. We could do, I feel like if this card exists, it either has to have a, not card, but this effect exists, it needs to like have some sort of barrier to get it to go. We could do spells have like cost 1 less on all effects, which I'm weary of that one because it means we can't, like, certain numbers have to be considered, and that can get kind of tricky. Seems like a hero mechanic. Yeah, it does, but it also seems like so freaking powerful. Okay. Honestly, it could be interesting if you had it like when you yeah, like a drawback for that, like when you draw a card, you make an, or you're forced to make an attack, so like you have to make sure you keep the right number of units on them, otherwise they're just gonna, like, you know, suicide themselves into a thing. Emanation, mana, other resources that put a hard cap on certain play styles after which you just become useless is one of my least favorite things in games, but it can work if handled well. I agree. I completely agree. I mean, the attack when you draw a card. Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. I was kind of getting that at that. I do feel like the system's being kind of realistic, at least more than 99% of other stuff you could play instead is kind of nice point of the system. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I got you, Adonis. I think we're on the same page, but when card is discarded, do X. I don't know exactly what that would be, but I could see that being a cool effect that synergizes with Mage's Tower. God, and cat hair. We come on a Magic Knight or something. Yeah, I could see that. What else do we got? You could have it like when a spell is played, gain like X units. That could be an interesting one. You could have something like, we're just kind of coming up with all possible Magic stuff, I think. What was the other one that we mentioned? Oh, like you may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. Discard units to search for a spell or shuffle back into from discard. Yeah, probably, yeah. Search for spend X units, search for spell. That feels less interesting to me for some reason. Although this becomes more and more powerful, putting a spell from your discard pile back into your deck, that becomes extremely powerful once you've run out of cards. That would probably have to have some sort of cost, right? It'd just be lower cost than searching your deck for a specific spell. Honestly, both could work, though. But I also think those would both be better as, like, other cards and not necessarily on your god. But you would need them for spells to become more consistent. For some reason, I feel like I'm trying to maintain, like, the card draw synergy in my brain, but I don't know if it's worth it. You can make a card that gains units when you cast spells. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I have that written down, right? When a spell is played, gain X units. Yeah. What's the trade-off / weakness with last few? Not sure yet. Oh wait, sorry, I missed one of your things you said, Tuna, I think. It's like, why would I play a mage only to get to use 5 strong attacks that deal chip damage when I could be playing a thief or knight that has infinity attack? Yeah, I agree. I don't like spell slots or like stuff like that in like D&D. I think although the way I run D&D is very different. Like I like one session is one day. Pretty much always. So like you don't really have to worry about your spell slots too much. It's like they will reset by next session. Because it's very, you know, instant space. That's just like the thing I'm thinking of, but it would be a nice synergy. Yeah. But like, you know, you're playing like Diablo or something, your mana regens instantly, you know, or something like that. So that I think it works. But when it's like a hard resource where it's like, oh, I have to use this and then I can't use it for the longest time, it's like, this kind of sucks. What else do we got? Yeah, I don't know what the trade-off is yet, Tuna. But we can figure that out afterward. I'd rather just kind of try to figure out what other effects we can do. Personally, okay with spell slots and someone who primarily plays casters in D&D, though. Yeah, long rest at the end of a session is very common. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like if you don't have like if you're like playing like survival and you have to like long rest after, you know, 6 weeks of gameplay, it's like, okay, well, I'm good. When you draw a card, you make an attack. Would that be good with the boat, wouldn't it? We already kind of have an effect for the boat. The boat is for our God of Harvest. And so the boat will let you find more land, which like sort of exploration vessel style. You do something like discard a spell to put X units on a card, discard a spell, kill X units on a card, or discard a spell and kill a monster. Interesting. I'll write it down. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'm just going to write discard a spell, do X. Units on a card doesn't really make sense. Kill a monster. Just because there's already Mage's Tower, which gives you units for discarding cards, so... Okay, here's my worry with, again, doing... Well, man. You know what? I think you're right, Anonymous. I'm thinking about it more. Because we've got God of War, which is like hero-centric, right? Like, it's all about attacking with heroes. We have God of Harvest, which is very like land-centric. So God of Magic being spell-focused makes perfect sense. I don't know why I was like, I kind of was locking myself into like what it currently was. That's where my brain was at, like something card draw related. I think it'd be cool maybe to like have a point where it's like you're trying to get through all your cards so you can get spells. Like the reason you have a lot of card draw is to draw the spells. But I think having did I call you wait, did I call you Anonymous or did I call you Maximus? I feel like I said the wrong name. I don't know, I'm losing my mind. I need more water. Sorry. But yeah, Anonymous, you're right. I should just make it spells. For some reason, I was like, yeah, but we don't have like any other cards that are like super synergized with a specific type of card. And it's like, that's literally a lie. 2 of them are that exact thing. You said Anonymous. Okay, good. For some reason, my brain was just like, did you just say Maximus? It's the Amus, you know? Or Adonimus, Maximus, Adonimus. Anyway. Here we are. Spells. Okay, I agree with you. We should do spells. I'm crazy. Which maybe means we need to make like a god of construction who works around structures or something like that. But I feel like they would have to function similarly to the god of magic. It's a thought though. We can revisit that at some point. I've missed 2 hi crazy, I'm Cat. Yo. Missed 2 things here. Let's see. Something lately spooky about my system is there's no game balance mechanics that reset your HP during downtime, though there is a universal way to regain health. Anyone can spend 1 hour hours in organic. I have read organic while in nature will spend 2 hours and turn organics into primitive medicine. Okay, nice. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's definitely a little more hardcore, right? If you had a few lands in your deck, you could theoretically use boat to attack a bunch of times, right? Or you make, oh no, sorry. So the functionality we did with boat is boat can remove 6 units from your card, and then you or an ally can draw cards until you find a land, and then you place that land in your hand and you reshuffle the rest of the cards. The other options here, the other thing we were talking about, what is it? The boat being on screen is probably confusing, but the other thing we're looking at doing right now is reworking God of Magic. And then the attack, what are you saying? The attack, when you draw a card, you make an attack. That's something different, but if you could theoretically use a bow to attack a bunch of times. Would you make long lines drawing a card? It triggers once. I think the way I would have this work is it forces you to attack when you draw a card, so you have to put lots of units on the thing, or alternatively lock it behind a unit effect. So like if you're forced to attack, like you might just accidentally kill your thing by drawing too many cards, which could be an interesting way to do it. Or again, alternatively, you know, we could just lock it behind, like you must have a certain number of units on the card in order to have that ability come into effect, which then would just self-synergize, because after it ran out of units, the effect would become inactive again. You have a God of Performance or something like that based on drawing cards, because I like the idea of that play style. Yeah, I think this playstyle would be about drawing cards. It's just specifically like drawing cards to get spells and then play them. But yeah, maybe have like a god that draws spells for other reasons, but I don't know. We'll see. You got enough gods to get a little specific if you want. That's true. I agree. Because a lot of the cards are really going to be what's drawing you more cards, right? The longer term games have not been playtested. I've mainly only playtested one shots with no consequences, right? After the battle is over, the rules adjustment. Yeah, I got you there. I feel that. Oh, so technically only drawing one it just goes through a bunch of cards to get to it. Yeah, I think so. Shexen doesn't draw them. Yeah, like, oh, I like that. Yeah, like an unstable wizard creation that is forced to attack. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. I feel like that would be cool. Okay, what effect out of these feels the most God of Magic then? I mean, we could do something like gain 1 unit for each card you draw to kind of have that sort of effect, but I feel like doing... I mean, I guess we should just leave draw 1 additional card. Sorry, I was like, my brain stopped working there. Okay, I think attack as many times you want. This one is for some sort of hero, right? We still have 1 additional card draw. That could be a thing. Gain a unit for each card you draw. I think that could be a good contender for being on the God card. Spells no longer have a side effect when played. I think is a good option. I'm kind of concerned about spells cost 1 less. So I think I'm going to remove that for now. Because I think it would just get really confusing with some of like the effects being like, you know, not specifically number based. So I think that gets weird. When a card is discarded, do X. That's probably something else because we don't have like a card discard mechanic on the God, and I don't think that makes sense. When a spell is played, gain X units. Could be. I feel like that's more of a separate card. I don't feel like that's as fun for... Well, you know what? That could be on the God. You may play a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. That's also good. Honestly, though, I almost feel like that might be a better card. Like a better separate card. That's like Wizard Academy or something. I agree. Yeah. Spend X units to search for a spell. That could work. Potentially. Discard a spell and do X. Kill a monster. That's going to be something else. If it's something. This is kind of a cool effect that we wrote here for Lich. You place a spell under a card. If the card dies, the spell is played for free. That's kind of cool. It's like a random effect idea for the Lich. Its abilities are a little more confusing, but reducing spell cost makes sense. I'm just thinking the discard mechanic is very interesting because it allows very consistent use, but the effect, if you don't see it used for things in your hand. The problem with the discard mechanic or either of the discard mechanics, right? Oh wait, which part? Wait. Which discard mechanic? The one where if you discard a spell, it does something? Or are you thinking we have a few discard ones. Discard a card, discard a spell, do X, right? That was one. You may place a spell from your discard pile back into your hand. That one I do like. When you discard a card, do X. Okay, I guess both of those are kind of similar, huh? One's just discarding a card, one's discarding a spell. If you discard, it does something. Okay, yeah. I feel like it would have to be something where you can discard a card for like specific reason. Because there's not a lot of discarding cards. Like discarding has to be done through an ability. So it really wouldn't be consistent unless it's an ability that you discard a card. Yeah, like it forces you to discard a card and then not forces, sorry. The cost is discarding a card and then you gain an effect from it. It wouldn't be, I do like the idea that when a card is discarded, then it does something. That's a little bit different, right? That would work well with like Mage's Tower when you discard a card and something happens. Or like you gain 3 units. Sorry, it's getting kind of confusing. It has a nice synergy with other magic-based cards. Yeah. But this card effect might be better for a different god. I don't think it fits magic. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You could have like a when discarding cards gain whatever. We already have like a goddess sacrifice and whatever, but something like that, right? Like, what do these cards even do anymore? I don't even remember. We created new gods. God of Retribution. Oh, right. That one's like it counterattacks. Sacrifices that you can't play cards, but you can remove units to play other cards. And then the God of Trade, which is just like switcheroo. The God of Switcheroo. Which I don't know how you build a play style around that, but you know, here we are. Finally got the cat hair out of my mouth. Not gonna lie to you. It's a problem when you snuggle your cat too much. Okay. All right. So currently we have. I think those ones would fit a different thing. I think you're right. We'll come back to that. Gain 1 unit for each card you draw. That one's interesting. Draw an additional card, also interesting. Or like kind of staying with the same thing. Like those two, like I feel like one of those two effects would be like one of the effects it has. The other one, spells no longer have side effects, I think is probably the best. When a spell is played, gain X units. I don't really like that one because it feels inconsistent for the god, because spells, like, there's not that many spells in a deck. There's only like 4 in your deck. So I don't feel like that fits super well. Which does almost make me want to have put your discard spells back into your deck. Potentially. I'm bringing that one back. All right, we got to decide in 6 minutes because then there's another break and then we should work on something else. Gain 1 unit for... okay, so there's the simple abilities, which is gain 1 unit for each card you draw or draw 1 additional card. Those are the simple abilities we got. The more complex ones are spells no longer have side effects when played, spend X units to search for a spell, or when you may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. No spell side effects sounds OP and it might break spells. Yeah, I feel like that one probably would fit best in like with a unit effect. That, yeah. That could fit with like a unit effect on like a structure or something, right? Or like a, some sort of card where like it requires a certain number of units for this to be active. I think the first two could be combined. I thought it was 1 and 5 together. Hold on, we just moved them. So the last one, you may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. and then you draw 1 unit for each card you draw. You gain 1 unit for each card you draw. Yeah, I think that those feel the best together. We could potentially do you draw an additional card and the other one, but I think that gets confusing. No, simple ones could both be in its effect. Yeah, no, that's what you're saying. I got you there. I think Adonimus was saying the other way around, or the other way. Yeah, I got you, Tuna. Sounds simplistic, simple, but it's a nice combo. Okay, there is some stuff here, like the way the game is designed, that might make this a little bit weird. So let's talk about how these could be effects. We're between these 3. I don't know if we have draw additional cards, but we'll see. Because the draw an additional card could be a base effect. Gain a unit for each card you draw technically should be a triggered effect. Can't type. Which is one of the red effects. You may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. Now, this could be reworded a bunch of ways to be different things. Like right now, it sounds like an ability. And you can't have... So you can have a base effect always, but you can't have... You can't have more than one triggered effect, ability, whatever, so on and so forth. Just the way the game is kind of set up. Which is probably a... you know, dumb, but you know, we're kind of here now. You can't have a triggered effect and an ability, or a unit effect and an ability. You know, if it's got the bottom effect, it can't have both, which maybe is a mistake, but we're kind of here. We're kind of here now. Just how the game's evolved. In theory, at some point, maybe we could just start putting the other effects in the base effect instead, but we could reword this, right? An ability, so it'd be like spend X units, and then you may place a single card, may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. It could be like a base effect and be like, once a turn, you may place a card from your, or place a spell from your discard pile, whatever, ... You get what I mean. It could be whenever you play a spell, place it back in your deck and reshuffle. Shuffle. You know, something like that, right? If you combine drawing an extra card, putting spells back into your deck, you'd be able to draw them easier, and you'd be able to reuse them. That would be a pretty cool playstyle. Yeah, it's true. I think spend units keep it balanced. I'm trying to think. Oh, we're starting an ad. I can't snooze it. Okay. We're gonna do an ad. I'll be back in 3 minutes. I'm gonna think this over. I will BRB.
I'm turning my card-based tabletop role-playing game
Let's
into
get
a
that
fully
for
fledged
you
deck
guys.
builder. That's right, a
already
role-playing
saw the
game
rest
like
of it.
Dungeons and Dragons, but with
bit of it.
additions.
There
And
you
they
go.
simply say they want to attack with their sword again, even though there might be more interesting options that the character might have. This continues until they're out of actions or the enemy is dead. Now, you may blame the fighter for playing the game in an uninteresting or boring way. However, well, they may have other actions at their disposal. Using their legendary sword is likely the most effective option for dealing with enemies. And while it may be true that it isn't the most interesting, you can't really blame them for using their best action they can. We had the exact same issue in Soul, and for that reason we came up with this design philosophy. The mechanics should never encourage a meta or perfect strategy. Players should never be able to repeat an action or a set of actions ad nauseum. And that's where the deck building mechanics come in. At the start of combat, a player will only have 6 cards, likely meaning they won't always be able to perform their best action and have to adapt to what's given to them. Even in the case of attacking with their weapon, they may only have so many basic actions, forcing them to use some sort of other action. Not only is this good for allowing players to have a diversity in actions, but it will also make combat encounters more interesting as a whole. Not only does a player have to overcome their abilities of their enemy, but also adapt to the abilities available to them. Now, this one arguably will have to be tested, but again, you've likely encountered a scenario in other games like D&D where a wizard-type character sits there for 3 minutes digging through their character sheet and trying to find what spell will work in this specific situation. With a limit on the cards, a player will only be able to choose the actions that are in front of them, which should limit their options and allow the game to run a little more smoothly. For our last example, how many times in an RPG have you used an ability on an enemy, or group of enemies, that causes a status effect, like a burn, or poison, or sleep, and have forgotten to apply it each turn, or forgotten which one of your enemies is affected by it? Or how many times has your character yourself been affected by a status effect, and forgotten the next time your turn rolls around? This problem is solved using cards. Look at a game like Slay the Spire. When you're affected by a status, it's shuffled into your deck, and then when you draw that card, it's applied to you. This is exactly how it works in Soul. Say you're lit on fire. A burn card will be added to your deck, and upon drawing it, you'll take that damage. This way, a player will never forget to apply this status effect when it's on their turn. There may be other ways that these changes help the game, but I just haven't discovered them yet, and I'm excited to see what they may be. Anyway, thanks for watching, and whoa. Hold on, Nathaniel, I hear you say. Didn't you say in your design philosophy video you didn't want a game with heavy mechanics? And isn't a deck builder super mechanically heavy? Not only that, but tabletop RPGs are supposed to allow players to do anything they want. This seems a bit restrictive. And if you are in fact saying that, you would be right. Anyway, thanks for watching, and okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'll explain myself. All right. Well, I realize a deck builder is mechanically heavy. At some point, a role-playing game has to be an actual game, like the game part. And I feel in this case, it's worth the risk. It just means I'm gonna have to be even more careful when designing my abilities in such a way to promote roleplay and avoid nitty-gritty mechanics-based abilities. For instance, abilities allow you to draw more cards, or even use abilities for free. Well, a few abilities like this could be good. Allowing players to infinitely draw cards, like a Shiv build in Slay the Spire, might end up being a little bit much. And as for a player not being allowed to do what they want, yeah, that's also true. However, I like to think of this system like the options your character can come up with in any given moment. That being said, I do have some mechanics planned that circumvent this issue rather than me just using a narrative explanation. For one, if a player's not in combat, they can use an ability at any time, allowing diversity in roleplay without any consequences. As for in combat, a player can do what I'm calling a focus draw. This spends a concentration to allow a player to dig through their deck and pick out a specific card. This will allow players the freedom to do what they want, coming at a bit of a cost. However, this unfortunately isn't enough on its own. As suppose a player has 3 concentration and wants to draw a 3-cost card. They're required to spend 1 concentration to focus draw the card, meaning they only have 2 concentration left. Now, if I allow cards to persist between turns,
I'm back, and I think I've come to a conclusion. So it's really difficult the way the game is made. And I don't know if it's dumb or not at this point anymore, but I can't have a triggered effect in an ability. So if we want this thing to cost units when using it, it can't have a triggered effect, which is, you know, gain 1 unit each time you draw a card. However, I think what we do is we just do the additional card draw. We leave that as a thing, we get rid of the triggered effect. The triggered effect, the gain 1 unit for each card you draw, could go on. I literally have a perfect idea for what card it could be on. We could put it on a land. And the opposite of a mountain, you know, you get more card draw. I think it'd be cool if you made a valley, and that does you gain units when you draw a card. I feel like that would be fun, right? The mountain and valleys would kind of go well together. I think that'd be kind of a fun thing, right? And then we just kind of draw an additional card, and then you have an ability where you spend units to put a spell back in your discard pile. And then just the deck itself has a lot of extra card draw, and then hopefully, you know, something to get units back. I think it would be nice to have unit gain on the God of Magic, but right now this just feels kind of, I'm unsure whether I can make it work to have both. So I think we leave the original base effect, and we add an ability that lets it draw spells. And honestly, this cost doesn't need to be too much, because you're putting it back into your discard pile, right? Or from your discard pile back into your hand. So I think it honestly could be like, I don't know. Actually, that part of that makes me think it could just be whenever you play a spell, it could be reshuffled into your deck. Because there's only 4 spells. So like if you're hold on. So assuming these are technically not in the current deck right now, like if with one of our deck built decks, the only ones that we play tested, I thought I was muted this whole time. The decks themselves only have 24 cards, and out of those 24 cards, there are 4 spells. That is the deck size we're currently going with. We could make them larger, but the savings buildup is massively, but if the cost is reduced, then you can reuse them forever. I guess that's true. That might be too much. Yeah, you're right. Honestly, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, an ability. And honestly, and then make it more expensive, because then... Yeah, okay. No, I'm feeling it now. I had to think it over. Good call, though. So let's do, like... I'm trying to think a good number of units. My brain's wanting to tell me 8, but that also seems like a lot. 6, 7? 7's a weird number. Okay, we're going with that. And we'll put this one into the... Because, like, we can't really give it 3 effects, per se. And that will just be a card that... Well, I mean, 7 did 8, not true. Maybe something like where you cast a spell, you may spend a unit from your God Magic to put it back into your hand instead of discard. Nah, I kind of like it going back into your deck. I feel like it's kind of more interesting. Oh, I see what you're saying. Tasty numbers. Let's just try this for now. It's a simpler method, and then we'll go back. Let's just start with this. And then if it sucks, then we'll change it. Yeah, playtesting is definitely key for that. Seven feels like the right number. Why? Because no other effect has 7 units, so... Remove 7 units from this card. You may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. then you may it definitely have to reshuffle, right? How do you then shuffle or deck? Seven sounds like a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, it feels like... Actually, yeah, 7 does sound like a lot. Because it's not into your hand. 5? No, I think you're right. If it was back into your hand, 7 might be... You would never use it if it was 7. You're right. I feel like it has to be like low. That's what I was saying. Like, I feel like it has to almost be like so low that it almost doesn't need a number. But then you could just play them forever. But like by the time you get to late game, you're probably going to be able to play them forever anyway. But if you have something like, well, I guess spells still have costs, right? So even if you're drawing them forever, they still have a cost, which does make the spell deck basically like you want damage spells, right? You want like Barrage of Magic Missile or Banish from Existence. Which would disable your heroes and stuff, but yeah, okay. Let's start with lower. This is gonna be like the 4, 3, 4. I'm gonna put it 3 actually. It's really low. Here's my thought. Here's my thought behind that. Start with a really low cost, and if it's too powerful, make it better, but at least people will then be using it, rather than no one using it and then not figure out how powerful it is. Yeah, someone be alright if you're getting used from card draw. Yeah, I think just doing a low cost, and we'll do 4. Change my mind. We'll do 4. You may place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck, then shuffle your deck. We're just gonna go with 4 for now. And then we're going to do the base effect is going to be unchanged for now. Maybe we could do some unit generation if we need it. Honestly, might even just give him 1 passive unit regen. We'll try it. Worst case, we all die, you know? Oh. Oh, what? What if you draw 1 additional card for each spell in your discard? But wouldn't that be inverse synergy? Like, you need the card draw to redraw the spells again. So you just try to like empty your deck. Is that kind of like the goal? I'm just trying to figure out what that would even... how that would even work, you know? Like, what's the point of that? I don't know. I like the idea. It's a cool thing. But I'm trying to understand, like, it also is hard to track. That's my only other issue with it, but remove 4 units from this card. You may Place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck, then reshuffle your deck. And shuffle your deck. Let's see if that's too many words. It's slightly too many words. It's literally one too many words. So your god gains more units the more spells you've used, but weakens itself with the other effects. You put the spells back in a loop effect. I'm gonna look at the rule book because I'm clueless right now. No worries, dude. Yeah, it was just an idea. It's cool. I'm just trying to... Yeah, I think that makes sense. One card draw for each spell you discard. I feel like then it encourages the strategy. Basically, you play all your cards, then you discard. Then you, once you're decked out, you basically just constantly... You play all your spells, and then you try to deck out, so then you can then use your ability, is what I feel like that would end up doing. But I don't know. Sorry, this isn't here. We need to rework. Oh, well, first of all, it shouldn't say ability. That's our first problem. Keep doing that. That should give us enough space. There we go. Remove 4 cards from this card. 4 units from this card. Honestly, we can give it a little shorter too. We could change card to D, which will make it God. Remove 4 units from this god. You may place a spell. Spell also should have an icon. What's the spell icon? Name. Don't tell me spell isn't. No, spell has to be here. Spell. Oh, spells, plural. Seems stupid. But here we are. Place a spells from your discard pile back into your deck, then reshuffle, then shuffle your deck. Let's try that. Gonna take a minute. I'm gonna go to sleep now before it's 4 a.m. I can at least get 3 hours sleep. Oh no, Tuna. All right, night, dude. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful sleep. If you're discarding the units you want to do the effect. Discarding units or discarding cards? Wait. When's the next stream? I always love watching these. Monday early. I don't know what time zone you are. It's 9:30 EST AM. So exactly 12 hours from now on Monday. If that makes sense. Your May is redundant. Yeah, actually, yeah. Oh, you May is redundant. Your May is redundant. Yeah, you May is redundant. Thank you. I'm European, so like 6 or 7 hours ahead of you. Anyways, good night. See ya. All right, dude. Have a good one. Appreciate you being here. I guess that makes sense because this is like when it would be late for Bean. Although Adonimus, you're also you're also I don't know, for some reason you seem less British than Bean, you know? Mostly because you're awake at all hours. Adonimus never sleeps. What time even is it for you, Adonimus? Lightweight. Sleep is illegal. True. I don't know why this card won't refresh. Anyway, now we have an idea how this works. 2:35. Okay, so not quite as late as Tuna. Okay. Let me just check. Do you think AM or PM? AM. I'm 90% sure. Sorry, I'm checking one thing. Guess not. Badge. Give me just 2 seconds and we'll I don't know. What do you guys want to do next? Do we want to just like pick maybe a card from the magic deck and make that, or let's do some art for that? Am I losing my mind? Okay, this doesn't matter. I'm just distracted. Okay. 2:30 is pretty late unless you woke up recently, and that's pretty early. So it tends to be sleep. I tend to sleep at 3 a.m. I'm about to peace out. Yeah, that's fair. Let me let my cat in. The other side, am I crazy? Getting game design fixed like a real addict. There you go. Understandable. Hey, no attacking my carpet. Yeah. But yeah, now we have like a bunch of this works. This is something, right? We'll see how it goes. I feel like I do like the idea of having the unit gen, and it does. Stop it. No. Here. Wait, actually, I don't know if that's gonna work. Here, we can do this. Where's my cat cam? Luna. Oh god. There she is. What are you doing? See all the freaking hair she's gotten on my freaking carpet? Why do you get it all hairy? Why are you so sheddy? Little sheddy spaghetti. I like the unit get, but I feel like there's a way to abuse it that would come out in playtesting. Yeah, honestly, I think it's probably fine if we just make the unit thing as a What? As a just a land card, and I think that would be fun. Okay, come on, be free. Stays in here for like 4 seconds. What a little butt. Yeah, I think we make the Valley. I mean, that would be an easy card to make if we want to just knock something out in 30 minutes. I know y'all are probably heading out soon. At least Anonymous is, and that leave me all by my lonesome. Not really, because Cat's still here. Cat, what time zone you in? If you feel like saying, you don't have to say. Obviously, don't feel the need to dox yourself. Because yeah, we could do a Valley. I feel like that would be kind of fun. Just do some a land card because it'll be pretty quick, you know. And maybe we can make some more spells too. That could be interesting. Oh, I think like the damage spells are gonna want to be the ones that we have in here. That'll be kind of cool. And then probably take the damage spells out of this one because I kind of just threw like the spells in here, and maybe make some sort of specific ones to God of Destruction. I'm on the US East Coast. So same. Right now it's 9:14. Now let's go figuring out if I'm Canadian, US, or Brazilian, other South American country. True. There you go. Right. It's like, that's a pretty long, a lot of, potentials. Okay. We did this. Those are its effects now. Oh, let's see if we can refresh now. There we go. That looks a lot better. Remove 4 units from your god. Place a spell from your discard pile back into your deck. Then reshuffle your deck. Cool. Cool. I think the only region that really disqualifies would probably be Mexico or most of southern United States. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like right, yeah. Fair. Okay. Guessing Canada because you said it first. There you go. Not saying. It is honestly interesting because I would say I haven't really had a lot of interaction in my life with like people who aren't in America. Like I think streaming has been like the most interaction I've had with you know, foreigners, right? God, is that? I do know people in Canada. There you go. Is it Thunder? Thunder's our other viewer from Canada, so maybe. Never know. Oh, Canada. Should we just draw land? It probably won't take me that long. Maybe it would, but let's just do it. I don't know. I don't really know what else to do with our short amount of time. We could... Okay, 2 options. Either A, we draw the Valley card, which will be the opposite of the mountain. Not really, but you know what I mean. Or I have like 3 things to reword that need to be reworded. Nah, trying to throw me off, not capitalizing Canada. Nice try. Funny. Because I have like a few things I need to do with my with the patch here. There's disabling Gods Abyss is too much. I don't know if I agree with that. I think we decided that we weren't going to touch that for now and keep an eye on it. God of Devotion should probably be a base effect and not a unit effect. That's probably true. That'll take 4 seconds. Hallowed Ground is confusing with Bridge, which is a beta card, which I'm not super concerned about currently, but would need to be fixed. So there's literally 2 things I need to do. Honestly, that would take like 4 seconds, so I'm not even going to bother. Evil cat noises. Nah, I'm from Calandia. There you go. Calandia. This is gonna be like the quickest card to draw. I haven't drawn a landscape in a while. Although I guess we could do like something like, hold on. Let's look up a valley. Galandia is a country I made up as a kid. There you go. Also, I feel like a valley is just going to be pretty easy to draw. Probably try to give it a little more depth than I, did some of the other ones, but, maybe a little bit of, well, let's start by, throwing our card base thing on here. I was watching something today. It was actually a Ludwig video. He did like a thing where he streamed to like on a brand new account and didn't stop streaming until someone chatted with him, which I find very interesting because it's like how how much of it's like how good of a streamer you are is kind of interesting. But the more like the bigger thing from that is like the he was like, it's really difficult to do a stream where you're chatting to no one. And that is very true. Not that like that's happening now, but I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I'm lucky to have people who show up, and sometimes it can get quiet, which is like good to have like a project that I'm working on rather than tell me about it. I was like, wait, did Beans show up? But no, not Runner Beans. What are you drawing? I'm drawing the mount or a valley. Yeah, what up? What up, Pawn? You're back. Wait, did you leave? I don't know. I thought you said you left, but maybe I'm losing my mind. But yeah, it's nice having people here to hang out. We call peeps beans. Well, Bean also calls people beans. You would probably get along if you haven't seen Bean before. The old Runner Bean. I don't know if your paths have crossed. But Bean's name is Bean and calls people beans. So and then mission that goes to sleep. I got distracted incredibly easily. There you go. You're about to go to there you go. Gladius. But yeah, I'm drawing a valley card because we have a mountain. We may as well have a valley as a land, And we kind of have an effect, an idea for an effect, so. Need to add like more additional. So it's not like the most interesting thing. It's a landscape, right? But here we are. Well, you're gonna see a bunch of people running around then. Peace. Oh yeah, you said. Oh, sorry, I missed that. See you. Good stream. All right, dude. Have a swell night. Sleep well. Thank you for being here, and I will see you probably next stream because you always show up. Also, a few unfinished games with a few more ideas. Also, that's also why I have 2 unfinished games with a few more ideas for games. There you go. Yeah, right. The classic unfinished project. The bane of every creator. I'm doing that. Somehow switching to the... Oh, it's a different type of brush. That's why. Weird. Really should be using this eraser tool. It's cleaner and faster. Yay, you're still on. Yo! I'm gonna check out how many games I have unfinished that I've abandoned on my PC. Go for it. That's a good one to thing. Yeah, still hanging out, still drawing. We're doing a valley now, so kind of more simple design, but we have a mountain card, so we figured, you know, a valley would be good. I feel like I really need to like sell that it's a valley, even though it's like I don't want it to look like a mountain. Like you really have to like get in there, you know? So I got pulled away to watch the new Dan to Dan. Ah, I still need to watch that. I heard it was really funny. But I have not watched the new episode yet. Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan, Dan, Dan to Dan, Dan to Dan. You know what I mean? Are you on season 2? I am. Yeah. I watch dubs because I can't read. But I think we had this conversation. I think you also do, right? But yeah, I think I'm 1 behind on the current season. Let's have this go down like here. Okay, I have 7 game projects in my custom systems folder. 4 of those are unfinished and abandoned. 1 of those is abandoned games, the TTRPG system, which I abandoned because the book kept becoming too much, and I literally playtested 0 of it. There you go. I feel that. That's kind of how a lot of my stuff is. Although I don't really have too many abandoned games, unless you count like ones from my like childhood, but I don't know. I just honestly, game design has been like a more recent thing that I'm taking seriously. So it's like I have less abandoned games. I do have like a lot of abandoned. Well, I don't know. I've been really good about finishing stuff lately. Like that's been my goal, is to like actually finish the stuff I started. So oh, yeah, this episode was so freaking funny. Yeah, honestly, I've heard good things. I will have to watch it. Yeah. Also, I'm trying to decide what I'm doing for this stream. If I'm gonna, how long I'm gonna stream for. Technically, I should be done. You know, coming up in 19 minutes, but I started a smidge late. But I also am wondering if I just want to go longer for no reason. But I don't know. For no reason other than just because. Core concept behind the abandoned TTRPG system is, or was, it doesn't make sense for you to gain a level in Druid as a result of being variant chop goblins head off, right? Yeah. Let's tie your progression to your actions. I do kind of like the system, but book kept becoming a bit much. Yeah, I do like the idea of like, that's kind of why I like the like milestones in D&D rather than doing just like XP based on you know, killing, right? It doesn't really make sense. Because it's fun, of course. Yeah, no, is that, wait, are you talking about chopping people up, or are you talking about why I'm streaming? I can't remember what I was talking about. Honestly, I think that's probably sufficient. Does this look like a valley? Yes. You said yes when I asked both things. Classic fig. The fig move right there. Made TTRPGs once. It was unfinished and revolved around actions needing certain dice to do. Effects would remove or debuff dice. Nice. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I played around with that a little bit with Soul 3.0. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I would approach a new system if I were to do another one. Honestly, I think this is it. This is the valley. Oh yeah, the main gimmick was that you do something, you become better specifically at the thing you're doing. If you want to be better at surfing, use a sword. Kind of like the Skyrim system of XP, right? If you want to get better at spells, cast some spells. If you want to be better at mining, mine some materials, smithing gear, mine materials and smith equipment. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Yep. That's cool. It makes sense, right? Perks up. Did someone say Skyrim? I sure did. Just talking about the leveling system. And how that works. Sorry, I got really focused there for a second. Yeah, I don't know how far I'll get with this before I take it, or before I just call it, but I gotta figure out if I can Grot was doing some play testing, or want to do some play testing for his game. And I'm between two things. One, trying to decide if I'm waking up at 9 in the morning. And two, deciding if my friends are actually doing something else that I also have to do at 9 in the morning. So, you know, here we are. I'm deciding how much I want to wake up at 9 in the morning. You know what I mean? On a weekend, specifically. Especially because I did like a lot of work this weekend. This week. I hardly got anything done on my own stuff. I mostly just worked on... My brother does like has me what am I trying to say? My brother has like a lot of like construction work and stuff like that to do, and he more or less hires me to do it. So it's nice to get some extra money, especially because, you know, streaming is only makes so much money. And by that I mean it doesn't make a whole lot, but 9 a.m. is sleeping in for me now. I mean, I usually wake up at 7:30-ish, but the question is, do I want to wake up and do something? And the answer is I probably will, but I wake up at noon at 1 a.m. Dang. Wait, noon, 1 a.m. or p.m.? I'm confused. Sorry, 1 p.m. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, huh? I'm trying to like decide what colors to do for this because I don't want it to look too much like mountain, but I also don't think it's the worst if it like kind of looks like a compliment to it. It probably should be like kind of more of a greener mountain, so it looks more like a valley. Okay, I think we'll kind of make it kind of, you know, something like this almost. Okay. I have an idea. But yeah, we're just drawing this for now. Until I decide I'm done. I'll probably be done it at I don't know, like 10-ish minutes. Well, we should be able to get a good amount done before then, but I do think it's probably about bedtime for me. Don't want to stay up too late. So let's open Stone Golem because it's got the right colors for me. Heroes, Stone Golem. Yeah, like these kind of land colors are nice. Actually, I think I want the sky to be the background, and then this. Oops. And this will be. Let's order my layers properly, you know. The question is, do I do like, should it be more like grayer at the top and get greener? I think probably. Yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah, it looks good. Keep stealing these colors from this. Just need to kind of give it some depth. And I don't know if I want to... how exactly I want to do that. I want to add the card border back. The heck? Oh, there we go. I'm trying to decide what, like, should this go... I guess I should just look at reference, right? I guess it gets bluer as it goes back farther, right? Like, so it should be... like, because... gotta go. All right, Sean, have a good one, dude. I will see you around. So much. Awesome. Glad to hear. I think actually, yeah, the way to do this is like add the sort of perspective, right? So we could like, as things go back in space, right, that gets more blue. Like there's more atmosphere in the way. We could do something like a little crazy here. Actually, I'm gonna go super crazy and then I'm gonna erase. Sometimes that just gives you a little more control. And then like that. I also think having some like maybe background mountains would be good too. They're kind of a little rougher. Maybe. I don't know. I think we're probably in an ad right now, aren't we? No, still at 4 minutes. Never mind. Yeah, it looks good. And then what we can do is we can, again, lower the opacity on this so it looks like in the distance more. And maybe even roughing it up a little bit. There we go. I think it's like normal on here. Goes my phone. Who's voot-vooting me? My email. Okay, I think we also want to have it get like more shadowy here in the foreground. So maybe we just do multiply layer. Kind of like a big swath of darkness. Do you use the same color palette across all your different projects? A lot of them, yeah. Not all of them, but I did steal this color palette from my comic. So it is the same as that. And I do use a lot of the colors from like, you know, different things I'm doing. So yeah, like when I'm doing a lot of my other art, I will still use the same color palette because I'm kind of used to it. But like sometimes I'll like switch it up and just like try to use other stuff as well. I would say in general, yes, but I don't I'm not like specifically trying to. A lot of time it's just what I'm used to. Because they're there, like I know what colors are there, you know how they're gonna behave. But especially on this like project, I'm trying to keep them keep it consistent. There's a layer here and I don't know what it does. Sprays colors with bottle. No, bad colors behave. Indeed. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to think like I just know how they work, you know, like I know it's a joke, but like I know like when I use this blue and I hit multiply, it's gonna look the way I want it to, you know. You know, guys, I may actually end up finishing this card. It is a break time though, so we're gonna do a break, and then after that, I will finish this card, and then we'll be done. That'll be the goal. So I'll be right back. Once I figure out where my Be Right Back on
I'm
is.
turning my card-based tabletop role-playing game
We're
into
like
a fully fledged
6
deck
minutes into the video.
That's
the
right.
video's
A
basically
role-playing
over.
game like I was playing Dungeons and Dragons the other day, and by the other day, I mean like a year and a half ago, and my players were in combat with a monster. This was a pretty standard fight, but things ended up getting kind of dicey. No pun intended there. It was kind of intended. I wrote it in the script, but I didn't think, you know, whatever. Let's just get on with the story. Anyway, so one of my players ended up getting knocked unconscious. I'm generally pretty nice to my players, so this was actually a somewhat rare occurrence, which is maybe not how a dungeon master should operate, but I just end up wanting all the characters to be friends, and I don't know. But yeah, after the player was knocked out, the very next turn, they were quickly healed by another player and back on their feet as if nothing happened. Then they quickly attacked and defeated the monster. After the session, there was something about this fight that bothered me. And I think it was the lack of impact of not only being knocked out, but the lack of impact of damage as a whole. There were no lasting effects on the character. It really felt like there should be some sort of repercussions after being beaten senseless. And I'm not even talking about mechanically here. I'm talking about from a character standpoint. You would expect a character to at least be somewhat traumatized or afraid or something after being knocked out by a terrifying monster. So when working on my game, I kept all this in mind, and I think I found a way to solve this problem by allowing damage to be impactful to the character narratively as well as mechanically. Hi, I'm Nathan, and this is my tabletop RPG deck builder called Soul. Today we're going to be talking about my new equipment system, items, and how that relates to health. When I was trying to solve this problem, two game systems kept popping to mind. One was MechWarrior's slot-based inventory system. Each weapon or component was equipped onto your mech onto a slot on their body. And when that part was damaged, it would no longer function. And the other one was the singular time I LARPed. Yeah, that thing where you run around in a local park and hit nerds with foam swords. It was high school, I don't know, what do you want from me? I'm totally kidding, I don't have anything against LARPing. I mean, look at me. I'm making a tabletop role-playing game by myself. For fun. Anyway, but yeah, the specific LARP I went to used a limb-based system for health. If you get hit in the arm, you can't use it anymore, and if you get hit in that limb again, you're dead, essentially. So really the same concept as MechWarrior, just simplified. So with that in mind, I decided to make a slot-based inventory system with health as well. This will help a player sympathize with their character more. Damage generally is pretty nebulous. A player having 25 out of 100 health doesn't really mean anything to them, other than that it's kinda low. However, a character having 2 broken legs and a dislocated arm is probably something they can relate to. This also forces a player to adapt to their situation, both in a mechanical sense and a narrative one. Now, the rest of the details I'm a bit fuzzy on, so bear with me a bit. I have 2 separate ideas on how this will lay out. One is a character sheet that will look something like this, having a slot for each body part: head, shoulders, knees, toes, etc. Except not really that at all, and more like head, body, right and left arm, right and left hand, legs, and feet. I felt like this was a good idea, but after a while I felt like it was sort of limiting. How many cool arm items would there be compared to like actual weapons or items you'd hold in your hand? Or say you have a character who has a shirt that you like, but you also want a jacket over it. I'm only kind of kidding with that example.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'm back.
so instead I just tried a different format, going with head, body, legs, right and left hand.
I think this card's looking pretty cool. I don't know what y'all think, but girl, you just got in here. What do you want from me? What? What ails you, my kitten? What do you want? can use the smudge tool enough. You want some more pads? Here. Okay, I think we need like lighting, right? And like maybe just variation in greens. I wonder if we could just do some different greens here, if that does anything for us. Not really. Not underneath all the other layers, you know? No, let's try lighting next and see how that goes. Hmm. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know. What do we think? Does anything? Does it need much more than this? Like, that's the other question. I think we could do... I almost wonder if the... What? I think the green might be too bright. You might be right. Too saturated. Yeah, I mean, we could just try like a lighter green. Oh, that looks weird, huh? No. Oh. It's cool, but not right, you know? I think we need a yellowier green, but it... Let's actually take this color, and it's kind of a chartreuse, you know? Make it a little darker. Like that, maybe? Or is it just the yellow lighting that makes it too... No, I mean, we kind of need it. I like the blue. It's cool, but it might be too... It felt too, like, Sci-Fi Planet to me. Chartreuse. I think that's a little better. I think part of it might be the background is actually too, like, light of a color. Like, it doesn't stand out, right? It's definitely too saturated, but... Wait. And honestly, like, it might make sense to kind of reverse how, like, the clouds are kind of in, like, the sort of white haze of the... Like, this maybe should be, like, instead... Oops. This should be instead like up here. Oops. I'm just gonna flip it. We're gonna, oh god. Hold up. Like it maybe should be more up higher, maybe. And this should be like down lower. It doesn't really quite work, does it? No, I don't like that. Oh my god. Hold on. We don't need this open. Oops. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it needs something. Maybe some clouds. What do we think of some clouds? Like little wispy boys, you know? Some of them wispy boys. Actually, maybe clouds should be on the top layer here, and so we could have them kind of going over the... I always feel like I can just draw a cloud. It can be a blob. It's fine. It can't just be a blob. Not how clouds look. Clouds have a very specific shape that you just don't realize until you actually start to try to draw them. That cloud doesn't really work. The thing is, they have like, they kind of move this way. Like they have like, they should be skinnier on one side and fatter on the other. You know what I mean? Because like the air is like pushing it and it kind of scrunches up on one side. Does this feel too, like, it almost feels like I need to shrink it. I feel like part of the problem is I haven't talked. I was like, I feel like I haven't talked in a minute. I feel like part of the problem is it needs some sort of like texture, and I think the solution to this is adding like little trees or something. Your Bob Ross, happy little trees. Hi, get them. Hey, no, sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you. Come back. I was about to show you off too. Maybe we go above all these layers and just draw some trees. Maybe we just leave these two and draw trees here. The problem is it needs to be above the line art. So maybe we just do it as its own layer. That's line art, yeah. It's too bright of a green. It needs to be more subdued. Hi, girl. What are you doing? What? My cat wants my attention so bad. I feel bad. Oh well. We will give her attention in a bit. Y'all, do we need to take a cat break? Trying to decide if this free effect works. Water. Thank you. Ugh. Mooney. He wants attention so bad. Poor little kitty. I honestly think I could probably also turn down the blue a little bit. I might have overdone it. Yeah, blend mode. Okay. Mm. I don't know, is adding like a crap ton of individual marks like this sufficient? Does this look good? Can't really tell. I probably have to do something like this over it to kind of like make it a little less specific. I don't know. Yeah, I think it looks good. Probably. Maybe. Kind of feels like I'm adding hair to the mountain. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah. I think maybe it goes all the way. I'm just definitely on the wrong layer, right? Yeah, okay. Maybe just a few here. And then we'll call it good. I don't know. I think the ones up here look bad. And maybe we just like lower the opacity on the whole thing. I think clouds need shadows. Good call. Yeah. What do we think of the like little tiny tree things here? Do we like that, or is it just kind of meh? I add some like variation, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. It almost feels like I have to like do it everywhere. in order for it to look good. Maybe just keep it subtle. I don't know. Let's add some shadow to the clouds. I'm getting tired though. I feel like we're gonna be done soon. Fatigued. And if we add shadows, we probably should add sun as well. I did too thick here. Too thick with two C's. I think that's it. I think that's good enough. I think that's as good as I care to get it. Oh. Hope if I saved it. Sometimes you can do too much, you know? I think it's good. I like it. How much time we got? Let's just extremely quickly implement it, and then we're gonna call it quits. Literally go like this, do insert below, do land, do 3. Do I still have valley? Valley. It will have a triggered effect. That triggered effect will exactly be gain 1 to be UNT for each card you draw, or gain 1 unit when you draw a card. I think it might be too powerful, but because it's instantly better than planes. But maybe honestly we might just need to take a look at planes and see if that just should be better. But here we are. Sure. I think card is supposed to be capitalized. Maybe draw. I don't know. When does not need to be capitalized. Cool. All right, let's just see what it looks like. All right, Fig. I think you're the... This is not what I want to do. I think you're the last one standing here. I think we are going to call it in a sec. thank you for being here. Thank you everyone else for hanging out too as well. Appreciate you being here. We may end up switching Friday nights because they do get kind of slow a lot of the time, but you know, it's still fun. Yeah, Cat's still here. Yeah, we're heading out in a second though. Let's just see what this card looks like, and then we'll. Ah, dang it, I'm dumb. Didn't put the art in there. Does anyone? Well, let me see. Sorry, I'm distracted. Just paste this in here. And then we'll be done. There we go. There's the card. Ta-da. Okay, let's find someone to raid. Let's land. Indeed. There it is. And what? May I propose mean? Sure, if you'd like. I don't mind. We can meet a new person. Generally, I would say, like, as long as they're doing, like, art or something, I'd be cool with that. The classic, right? Oh yeah, we'll do that. I think we might just raid Painted King, because I haven't raided him in a while. He's got some cool stuff, so let's do that. It's been a while, so we're gonna do that. He does some really cool artwork. I think he's drawn some sort of mermaid, something or other. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen his character. Siren. Yeah, okay, so I was right. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I will be back Monday. Probably for more of the same, honestly, not gonna lie. We're gonna be more card art, more game design, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, y'all. Thanks for being here. See you on the other side, and yeah. All right. Doodles. Toodaloo. All right, bye.